First of all, let's talk about Aidan Birchard, right? Let's talk about what Aidan said at the celebration party. Holy shit. I mean, that was like one of the coolest things I'd ever seen. That kid is usually very quiet, right? You know, I did the interview with Aidan a little bit earlier in the season, and it was fun to get him on. And I think he really very much enjoyed being able to open up a little bit and do that and be on the show and whatnot. But to see him do that, now there was some negative reaction, a little bit of negative reaction that I'd seen about what Aidan did. And I got to be perfectly honest with you. Aidan is very similar to me. He's not on the team, but he is on the team, right? Because technically he's the head equipment manager, just like Dylan was, right? On the team, but not really on the team. He's not on the ice playing, you know, but he can be in the locker room and do the things that he does. And he's gotten to know the players, even probably more so than me, right? Which is the reason why Aidan probably listens to our show, hears me get amped up about Chris Paulin and the things that he was saying, right? Because, you know, so on and so forth. And the one thing that he mentioned about, I absolutely loved, you know, we have a goalie problem? Really? Look at us now, right? That type of thing. It was absolutely the best part of the whole celebration, the speeches for me, was hearing him do that, because he came out of his shell a little bit. Now, Aidan, I want you to make sure that for the rest of the next, 12 months until next year, you keep it cool in the box, right? Because that's very important. We don't need you to be in handcuffs like a former EQ manager was at one point. So keep it cool, brother. I loved it. I love you, man. It was great, and I can't wait to have Aidan back on the show this summer so we can talk about it a little bit more. But Taylor, what did you think about what Aidan did?
That was, as you said, that was Jeremy's favorite part. He didn't care about anything else that happened. That was his favorite part. He was like, we can leave now. Like that, nothing's going to top what he just did. And he's like, I hope somebody had a video of it, and I hope it's posted somewhere so I can listen to it again. And I was dealing with a toddler, so she was not having a lot of what was going on. Mm-hmm. So I caught bits and pieces of it. And my favorite moment was like, I need a camera. Where's a camera? And he spoke directly into the camera, which to me was the funniest part. The other funny part is we were by the stairs, and his mom was actually on the stairs. And I kept looking up at her to see her reaction to him going off like that. And she was just having a great time. And it was one of those just funny moments for me where it's weird because I'm not even watching the person that's talking. I'm watching, his mom reacting to him talking. But again, it was so funny. And I really enjoyed it. It was Jeremy's favorite part. And he was definitely he couldn't believe it. But it reminded me of, last season, I think it was last season, when everybody was making comments about the Black Bears switching out gloves in Carolina. Uh-huh. Yeah. And they were giving Dylan I think it was Dylan and Aidan a bunch of crap for switching out gloves every couple minutes. So I think it was a couple days later, I had found this post, and it was an EQ guy, and he had a shopping cart full of gloves that he was wheeling across the ice. And I remember sharing it. And I was like, do you think they would have preferred this method better instead of handing it over the ice like they were doing in Carolina? Right. And I remember Dylan thought it was the best thing ever. And he had tagged Aidan in, and he's like, this is what we're going to have to do next season when it comes to it. And it's one of those things where they're not technically a part of the team as, part of the skaters type of thing, but they pay attention to the things that happen and the things that go on. And there are certain things that kind of stick to you as the season goes on. Obviously for Port Huron, it's the whole goalie situation, us running their goalies, they didn't do the same exact thing to us, but it's just whatever we did to them. That's what stuck to them the entire season. That's what they've held on to every time you talk to them. They ran our goalie 5 months ago, and I'm sure the start of this next season, the first game we face them, it's going to be, I hope you guys don't run our goalie. It's just one of those things where you pay attention to certain aspects. And Chris Paulin making the videos that he did, everybody was paying attention to them. Yeah. I know at one point there was a post when it was our series against Port Huron, and I think it was on the Uncensored page, and it was a post about having to decide between two buttons. And the first button was watching Banton win a third straight cup, or having to listen to Chris Paulin do his WWE promos. And those were the two choices that you had to pick between. It showed a guy sweating. And yeah, it's one of those things where certain people pay attention to that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I think he handled it great. Yeah. And it definitely wasn't any worse or anything like that compared to last season. Because, as Yates came up and he's like, I'm going to keep it PG because there's kids. And then Aidan gets up there, and I don't remember who else it was that went up there and had, just kind of ripped it right off. And I was like, well, so much for keeping it PG.
Yeah, that was a good moment.